What's good, African family? Welcome back to the African Wahala. You really have to be careful with the people that you look up to, the people that you worship, the people that you respect, the people that you feel like are coming to save you. We have the president of the US, Donald Trump, and the richest man in the world currently, 2025 January, Elon Musk, teaming up together to put South Africa on a blast for deciding to implement a more equitable land sharing formula in the country. We all know about the historical aspect of South Africa and the apartheid, where Europeans came, took over the land violently, and at some point, they claimed that they transitioned from an apartheid society into a free society where people are equal. But that's not the case. We all know that. And it's even more troubling that a population that makes up less than 20% owns 70% of the economy, the lands, and all the critical, crucial resources to make the country functional. We also know about the fact that there is the Orania County. There is a region in South Africa where the European people over there are beginning to clamor for separation out of South Africa. You know, it's almost like the African people in Brixton, London, the Africans in Peckham, London, trying to clamor for a separation out of England. They want their own separate country. It sounds ridiculous, right? But that is the equivalent. So we have the president of South Africa, whom, by the way, I'm not going to say I'm that much of a fan, but I have to respect the fact that he stands up against the collaboration of Elon Musk and Donald Trump to put South Africa on a blast for trying to implement a more equitable land distribution in the country.
Issue that Donald Trump fears so much. We offer this question of the land. I don't know what Donald Trump has to do with South African land because he's never been here. And he must keep his America. We will keep our South Africa. That's what he must do. South Africa is our land. South Africa belongs to all the people who live here in South Africa. It does not belong to Donald Trump.
And if you think about it, this is a very progressive, so to say, I'm putting that in quotations. This is a quote unquote progressive thing to say by the president of South Africa, that the land in South Africa belongs to the people living in South Africa. He did not specify if it belongs to the African people or the Europeans in South Africa. That is supposed to be progressive, right? But you have Elon Musk, like I said, wealthiest man in the world, accusing the South African government on X of being racist, even though the South African government is only trying to distribute the land in a more fair fashion. You tell me, how does it make any sense that European people that make up less than 20% of the population control 70% of the resources and the viable lands in the country? It's like, I'm going to use the analogy of the Africans living in Brixton and Peckham once again. If the Africans in Brixton and Peckham controlled 70% of the wealth in England, do you think European people would stand for that? But Donald Trump is trying to use the powers of America. Elon Musk is trying to use his powers and his influence to bash the government of South Africa for doing the right thing for their own people. And what this simply tells me is that it's very important for us as a people to find a way to become powerful. Yes, we have been at the bottom of the food chain for like 300, 400 years as African people, non-stop, 300 to 400 years at the bottom of the food chain. A lot of people don't respect us. It's not a secret that we are not respected by a lot of people. It often boils down to our individual characteristics that makes us have some sort of respect by other people. But as a collective, they don't respect us. That's why Elon Musk can put out such a tweet bashing South Africa for doing the right thing. That's why Donald Trump is threatening South Africa with taking away some aids, some assistance. Tell me, the poor people of Soweto, I bet they disagree with the United States sending any aids in the first place because all the aids that they've been sending for decades has never reached the poor people of Soweto. And the same thing can be said about many other African regions, but I digress. As African people, we find ourselves in that position where we are often disrespected because we don't have the powers and we have very greedy leaders. I'm talking about some of the most incompetent, reckless, useless politicians. These are the types of politicians, these African politicians, that you can dangle a carrot in front of them and you would entrap them. They are so greedy that they don't care about the consequences. That's why this is happening. But I also believe that this is all culminating into something bigger, where the United States, for the first time in decades, would realize that the influence that it has is not as big as it thought. Oh, yes. That time is slowly coming back because now that Cyril Ramaphosa is responding back to Donald Trump to mind his business, I think that's a very credible move. And it's going to showcase their supremacist mentality. I'm talking about Trump and Elon Musk. It's going to put them in their place where they belong.
He can keep his America. And Erne is even worse. He's even worse. When I meet him, I will tell him. I will say, you, Donald Trump, you are even worse because your forebears came to America. They found the native, the indigenous Americans. They wiped them out. They killed nearly all of them. Rene, we are living as a nation, and black and white, we are going to find solutions for our land question. So Donald Trump must leave us alone. He must leave us alone, Kauri. When we were facing apartheid, when we were facing oppression, he was not here. He did not fight side by side with us. And we were able, on our own, yes, with support of progressive forces in the world, to resolve the apartheid question. As far as I recall, Donald Trump was not around the negotiating table when we negotiated the end of apartheid. So stick around there in the White House. We will do our business here, and we will find solutions for our problem. So stay out of our issues, and we will not get involved in your issues in America.
It's so ridiculous that they have no respect for us. which I don't really blame them for, to be honest, because if our own politicians had respect for us in the first place and stopped stealing like idiots and did the right thing, if our politicians stopped stealing the money, started building infrastructure and improving the standard of living of the people, then African people will be more respectable. Because a lot of African people that have moved to countries like the United States would rather stay back in Africa and contribute to the development of Africa. But these greedy politicians make it impossible for that to happen because the money that was supposed to be used to provide infrastructure and amenities to make life easy for African people has been stolen away. And oftentimes they use that money to go buy mansions. Guess where? In the United States of America. Bottom line is, we have to be careful who we look up to, especially tons of African people looking up to people like Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Yes, Joe Biden was garbage, without a doubt. But that doesn't mean Donald Trump is also not garbage. Elon Musk is wealthy, but that doesn't mean that he deserves your respect. Yeah, you can respect him for being smart and being able to achieve some things, but that doesn't mean you should look up to every aspect of his life. Because clearly he has his agenda that he's pushing, and the agenda will be detrimental to African people. Point blank and period. But let me know what you think in the comment section. Peace.